Good damn morning, Americans. Jericho Green here with you once again. Make sure you get your green gear 25% off. Promo code Jericho1. All caps and the number 1. So I just finished watching most of the Grandpa in Chief's speech on his gun violence executive orders. Here we go. So a lot of what he said was ridiculous. There was one thing that he said that was very true. He said that the number one cause of death for black boys and young men between the ages of 15 and 34 is gun violence. He nailed that on the head. Good job. Somebody toss him some hard candy. But then he followed that up by saying, but, there are ways that can reduce the gun violence by 60%, but they're just heavily unfunded. So you were in the White House for 8 years with a black president and you couldn't get that funded, but now you can. So, number one, throwing money at the problem does not help. We spent over $16 trillion on the war on poverty. Throwing money at it does not work. Community centers don't work. Programs don't work. You know what does? Strong family units. Because where you find strong family units and an overabundance of two-parent homes, you don't find gun violence. I'm just throwing that out there. Oh, and another thing this heavily religious president, this Catholic president said was, it's enough with the prayer. It's time for action. So stop talking to God and get to work. Man, this fool ain't serious, but he is. So that was the only correct thing that he said, was that the number one cause of death for black boys and young men 15 to 34 is a gun. Then he talked about the red flag laws. He said that states with red flag laws have seen a reduction in suicides and gun violence. Didn't give out any numbers. He just said it's a reduction. So is it a reduction of 1%, 0.5%, 10%? I don't know. He didn't give any numbers. Just like when they said that the Asian hate crimes in New York City increased by 800% and it went from like 15 to 28. So I don't know, but that's what he said. But basically, if enough people get together and petition a judge and they have a strong enough case, then the judge can have your weapons removed. So let's say in some cases that does work. But you mean to tell me you're not going to have anybody who has some family members, multiple ones who may not think the way they do or believe things the way they do and think that they are mentally unstable and will petition a judge to have their guns removed? And they're basing this, he kept mentioning the people that were there who were parents of people who were killed in mass shootings. One were some parents from one of the kids that killed at Sandy Hook. Anyway, there were some of the, infamous mass shootings. Another one was at a school. So he had people up there, family members of people who died. But and then he mentioned there's this little modification kit where it's almost like a stock for a rifle, a short stock for a rifle, and a place for you to put your handgun in. So it basically turns your handgun into a short rifle. I didn't know that was a problem. But I guess that dummy who shot up, that piece of garbage who shot up the grocery store in Boulder, that's what he used allegedly. So you're basing all this on a bunch of crazy ass people who did crazy ass shit, a bunch of monsters who did evil shit, a handful. So now the entire nation, he said he wants nationwide red flag laws. So now the nation should have these things in place. Not leaving it to the people to vote in their individual areas, but the federal government is going to decree that everybody needs to partake in this shit. And he was talking about the Violence Against Women Act. That's how you say that. Violence Against Women Act. But at 18 minutes and 44 seconds, he said the Violence Against Women Act or something along those lines. It was a bunch of gibberish. I listened to it a few times. He did not say Violence Against Women Act. That is not what he said. I don't know if he dipped into another language, another dialect that we're not familiar with, but he said the Violence Against Women Act or some shit like that. You tell me, someone please type out what he said, because I didn't understand it. And English is my first and only language. So I've been talking it for a while and I don't know what Violence means. Someone help me. So basically, so he said it'll also close the loopholes for gun shows. Because he said, and I quote, "You can go to a gun show and buy whatever you want without a background check." End quote. Now, I live in California. This is the only place that I've purchased a firearm. And I know for a fact in California, you cannot go to a gun show and buy whatever you want without a background check. Matter of fact, you can't even buy that shit right there because you have to wait for the background check. I had to wait forever for a background check. And I know there are people in other states who can go on their lunch break and buy a gun. And maybe in your state, you can do that. I doubt it, but maybe you can do it. But here, you can't do that shit. And California is not the only crazy ass state in the union. You can't go to a gun show and buy whatever you want without a background check. Do you know why? Because everybody would go to a gun show and buy whatever they want without a background check. Is this dude for real? And then he said, no one needs a weapon of war. Talking about assault weapons, whatever the fuck that is. An assault weapon is anything you use to assault somebody with. I can get a damn assault French fry. It all depends on what you do with it. But he said he got a ban on high capacity magazines for 10 years. No one needs 100 bullets. Who are you to tell me what I need? It doesn't matter. This is America. I can have however many bullets or magazines that I want. Not in California. High capacity. Who cares? If I'm taking that thing to the range or to hunt with or to keep in the house for home protection, then who cares? I'm not using it for criminal means. I'm not using it to hurt or kill somebody maliciously. So it doesn't matter how many bullets I have. All you're doing is handcuffing law-abiding citizens because you know we're going to abide by the law. You know who doesn't? The people that we buy the guns because of. That's why I want a high-capacity magazine, because they have them. That's why I want all these things to turn my pistol into a more accurate weapon, because they have them. The bad guys. Remember? That's not me. I'm the good guy. I'm the tax-paying, law-abiding citizen. Remember me? I know it's been a while. I know you've had our faces covered up for a year, but remember me? It doesn't matter how many bullets I have or how many I want. I'm not using them in an illegal manner. So gimme. Why can't I have a damn 1,000-round magazine if I want? A 10,000 round. So what if I want to shoot my gun until it melts? That's mine. And as long as I'm shooting it into a hillside or an indoor range, so fucking what? Excuse me. A little parched. There it is. So no one needs 100 bullets? Okay, maybe I don't need them, but I want them. I want to have them, so give them. You're not supposed to stand in my way. You're supposed to encourage and help me acquire. He's saying how these laws will help keep, abusive boyfriends and spouses and stuff, because he says, I don't remember the numbers, but he's saying how X amount of women are shot by domestic partners every year. Hey, I have an idea. Give every woman a 9mm and free classes on gun safety and shooting. Some tactical shit. Make every woman who's a law-abiding citizen John Wick. Go ahead. Teach them all that shit. Handgun, bang, bang, ping, 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 ping. All that shit. Every law-abiding female in this country of age to purchase a firearm should be John Wick. If you don't know who that is, pause this, go to search John Wick, W-I-C-K. That's what every woman should be. Who the fuck is not against violence against women? You turd. We know that. Forget making it hard for her boyfriend to get to her. Make her prepared for when that fucker gets there. Because your little piece of paper, your restraining order, your don't do that, don't bother her anymore, isn't going to work. You know what does? Something traveling at 2,000 feet per second. Something hot. Something that's going to make him stop and think. Something that is going to paint the wall behind him. That's what's going to stop this shit. That's what's going to protect women. Don't act like you give a shit. And everything he's saying about the guns and the parts and all this stuff, it makes it a more deadly this and that. It sounded like he didn't know what he was talking about. It sounded like he was barely holding on to the words coming out of his mouth. I don't know how else to explain it. It was like he was saying these things for the first time. He sounds ridiculous. Like most of them. Remember Sheila Jackson Lee? AR-15s weigh as much as a box when you're moving and they shoot 50 caliber bullets. These are the people making the laws. The people that know nothing about guns. Would you want these people making the rules about your health? You're sitting there dying and you want these fools that know nothing about the medical field saying what's going to happen to you? Of course you wouldn't. You would want them to know what they're talking about before they make decisions for you, wouldn't you? These fools don't. No one needs 100 rounds. You can go to a gun show and buy whatever you want without a background check? Come on. I'm sorry, let me say it like him. Come on, man. I'm sorry, my bad, let me be accurate. If I'm going to do it, let me be accurate. Hey, come on, man. There you go. Come on, man. Remember, where's the nuclear button to fire the missiles in the sky that make the mushroom-shaped clouds? That's who we got. That's your boy. I'll put a link in the description box to the video so you can see this shit yourself and you can watch it like I did till a single drop of blood comes out of your nostril. Because that's how mad you're going to get. These are the rules. I didn't get to the part where the Attorney General is talking. I can't stand that. I heard enough. And then you got Kamala, the Ugandan nightmare, in the beginning introducing him. Oh, I remember back then we were talking and stuff, and I remember we were talking about... Oh, you mean back then when he was a racist? When you were calling him a racist? When he was forcing little girls like you to be bused to schools on the campaign trail, when you called him a racist, and then now you work in the same building and that was just a debate? Yeah, you get some of her too. And quick question before I go, because I got to wrap up my state mandated meal period. The only good thing California's giving me. Here's my question. If Kamala Harris was there introducing the president for this gun violence nonsense fest, then who is down at the border taking care of the problem? Because he said last week that she was in charge of the border crisis. The secretary, the ginger, she said that he has other things to focus on. So Kamala's going to be down there taking names and kicking ass. But if she's there at this speech, I think it was held in South Carolina, not 100%. It wasn't down at the border. So if she's there introducing the president, then who the fuck is down on the border taking care of business? Because that's a big problem. That's what she should be. She should set up shop on the border. She's going to need some hot coffee, some cold pizza, and her sleeves rolled up. You know how they do in the campaign commercials? You know, especially for the local stuff, you know, the mayors and shit like that. There's always some scene in the commercial where they're at a construction site looking at blueprints like they know what they're looking at. And they're always wearing a denim shirt with the sleeves rolled up and a hard hat and no tie. That's how you need to be, Kamala. You need to have your denim shirt on, sleeves rolled up, and your hard hat cracking the case. And don't leave until it's done. Do you know how many of us poor taxpayers can't leave until our job is done? Whether it's an actual job, a 9-to-5-er on the clock, or at home, you can't leave until it's done, so neither can you. But you're too busy introducing the president to make a speech. No one else could have done that? Sorry, sir. Got to get down to the border. Shit's crazy. I was talking to a friend of mine today. Fuck you, Albert. And I was saying, that's just like having your bathroom upstairs spewing raw sewage all over your bathroom. But you say to yourself, man, let me go out here and mow the lawn. Let me go tinker in the garage. Meanwhile, your toilet is upstairs doing an exorcist impersonation, but I got to get down there and cut that grass. It doesn't make any sense. You got a much more serious problem up here, but you're fucking around over there. I got it. Nothing new. Let me get back in here. But you know how it goes. I try to be done with the left, but they just won't let me. Please subscribe. Hit that notification bell because every time it rings, a piece of shit lefty cries. Get your Jericho Green notification tone. Link in the description box. Utilize the PayPal link and the Teespring link to get your green gear. I am Jericho Green. Man, I'm out.